Focus on focus.
Focus on
Focus
focus.
on
Focus on
focus.
focus.
Focus on focus.
Focus on focus.
Focus on focus.
Focus on focus. It's a map. It's a recipe. It's, it's 3 cups, 3/4 cups of sugar. It's 1 cup of cornstarch.
The 6, if I'm correct in saying, is the 6
Best practices?
Here's a better way to be better at what you do.
I think focus on focus is important because it acknowledges some of the very simple, basic things that we can do as educators to make our students feel comfortable, welcome, and successful.
I'm glad to see the focus on focus, emphasis on learning names. Ever since I became a teacher, that has always been a fundamental thing that you do immediately. I kind of pride myself that I do that quickly.
Yeah, it really surprised me that they show interest and they know my name.
I really enjoy the relationships that I've made with my professors. They'll pass me in the hall and say hello, and they will call me by name.
I was greeted with a lot of positivity once I decided to come here. I ended up meeting the instructor that I talked to face, and she remembered who I was, which was really empowering.
I had an experience this semester where one of my students looked like she wasn't engaged and didn't seem like she wanted to be there as much as some of the other students. And I realized I had been calling her by the wrong name. And even though I had those nameplates out the first couple weeks, they got switched up in my mind. As soon as I corrected myself, and that day I made a point to call on her 3 or 4 times by her correct name, it was like a totally different person the next day she came into class. She was back in, I think just validating that I knew who she was.
Learning their name is huge for me, knowing students' names, and I see that reward later when they come back to see the advisor. I'm like, oh, how are you, Sam, or how are you, David? They're like, you remember my name? Yes.
One of the early focus on focus things that I started implementing was I wasn't finding out that students had any kind of learning issue or class comfort levels until much later in the course. So by having an early assessment, which was really just a very simple quiz through Blackboard, wasn't meant to be anything stressful, was just, for example, setting up a true or false whether or not a student had read the syllabus, so that automatically the first day I knew if there were flags.
It's very, very helpful when instructors post grades right away. I hate it and I love it because if I don't do too good, I don't want to see it, but I still need to see it. So at least it prepares me to know if I need to talk to my instructors right away, or if I can relax for a little bit, or if I should change some of my study habits. So I think it's crucial for instructors to try to post grades as soon as possible.
I'm looking at the best practices here.
So. Okay, I should look at mine.
So learn names is one, and we talked.
Yeah.
You've got the common syllabus. We talked about that.
Can I comment on one?
Yeah.
Brief conversation with students. I have a one-on-one with students, 15 minutes for every student. So I block out a day and we meet with them one-on-one. I ask them how things are going. And then we talk about, okay, what are your career goals? What are your expectations? How are you doing with your assignments to this point? And then where do you want to go from here?
One thing I found to be very valuable for students that kind of are in a non-traditional situation is, again, really just starting with a conversation. A simple, hello, welcome to Madison College, I'm so glad you're here, can really go a long way.
As a student, I appreciate when the instructors connect with us. Working in industry for so many years, I've had bosses that don't want to connect. You don't feel part of the team, part of the culture. When I have instructors that'll connect with me, sharing work experience, sharing life experiences, I do feel that you get a better educational experience out of it because of the personal connection.
A lot of times just having a conversation with the instructor is the difference between a student dropping a class because they feel that they're failing or that they feel that it's hopeless, and them staying in that class and being successful.
I fell on my face a bunch of times and I quit. I would leave for different reasons, whether it be financial or trying to help my family or just being lost and not getting it and just simply giving up. I think what made me come back was the exposure that I had to certain professors. The first time a professor kind of engaged me, I was confused. Like, who are you? Like, why are you saying, like, why are you asking me for my opinion? Nobody asks me for my opinion. Nobody cared about my opinion. It wasn't until that person just kind of like, no, like, how are you doing? Like, I want to know, how are you doing? And you open up and you're just like, I think I'm doing okay. Well, what's happening? What do you think? Why do you think you're doing okay? Well, I have these questions. Well, I can answer these questions. And man, when you get that ball rolling initially, when that person asks you, I mean, and you let them know, they will answer your questions.
I think that engaging and confronting students and being honest with them is very helpful because it allows them to kind of grow their relationships not only with themselves and other people, but with instructors, other classmates, being more comfortable around people so they can ask those questions that they may not have originally felt comfortable asking.
There was a student that really didn't talk too much. Anytime that I kind of called on the student or tried to involve them in a conversation, they just kind of, it was always yes, 1 or 2 word answers. And I was like, at some point I was like, maybe she doesn't like me. Maybe it's just me. And it wasn't the case. In that situation specifically with that student, it was just the constant digging, that chop. You have that big redwood and you're just every day bringing up small talk, little comments and things like that. And eventually you find something, you get that laugh. You say something and they laugh and you're like, yes, you see the light coming through.
Your eyes should turn his face. How to help people understand what Focus on Focus is about and how it can help the student, I guess is what I'm hearing being asked. And I think that there's a lot of stuff about change that comes on. And no matter where we are in life, change isn't something we want to do. We always want someone else to do it, right? Change is good for you, not necessarily for me. And I find that the more champions you can get on board, showing them just sometimes little pieces that are working. Maybe it's, let me show you how great this little tool is in Blackboard, that if you have them submit something, it's this, or how they can do a wiki, and the students can collaborate together before they come to class, and then you've got this richer discussion.
I think Blackboard is an amazing tool when you use it in the ways that you can to connect with your students, whether it's providing feedback on assignments, discussion boards. We do something in my class called trend spotting. I know for some people it may seem scary if they're not used to technology, or even like the tool is just too much if they can do it in the classroom on pen and paper. At the same time, I feel like Blackboard, when used appropriately, will allow us to better connect with our students.
And so it's really important, in my estimation, for them to get comfortable with how to use Blackboard. So while I use initial, early, small assignments during the first week, I also have created little videos that show the students how to submit an assignment for my class, how to take a test, how to put a discussion board item up.
In terms of the ideas that I've seen from the Focus on Focus list, the welcome letter is the one I'm going to adopt first. I think it's a great idea.
It's always a welcome letter. It's always, we're so glad to have you. I always try and make sure that they understand that I'm here for them. They're not here for me. I'm here for them.
I really appreciate a welcome letter because it's more personable. It's like the teacher reaches out and wants the students to know, hey, this is who I am. I'm glad that you signed up for my class.
Life outside of this program, since we're here about 40 hours a week, exists in about 6 hours outside of it. That includes everything, job, family, social life. So having a clear syllabus that has everything laid out is really, really important, because if you forget something, you can always go back and reference it. Or the instructor later, they can always be like, oh, it's in your syllabus, you could have been following along the whole time. So I would say for someone like me, it makes life a lot easier just to keep everything in its place.
All of the resources that are available are included in the syllabus. My teaching philosophy is included in the syllabus, the assignments, how the assignments are weighted. But I think the schedule itself, students can look at that syllabus, and on every date they know the topic that's going to be discussed, they know the homework that is going to be asked for.
I think anytime we can make college have some similarity from classroom to classroom, it's an important thing to do for students, because if there's some similarity in the way we go about our business, that will give them more confidence and enable them to feel more secure here at school. So if everyone is using a syllabus that kind of looks the same from other classes, that's a comfort.
Well, the syllabus, yeah, it's really helpful because, like, I need to make, like, my reservation for the testing center, like, a week before, and I need to look up at the syllabus to see when is the next test.
My understanding of Focus on Focus is that it is the basic foundation for success. And the way I love it, because the college has provided me with a template to be successful. And there's nothing more you can ask from an employer, from a coworker, from a supervisor, is a general guide map on how to be successful. And whether it was athletics or whether it was in law enforcement, I always take what is given to me because there are resources. The college provides these resources to help. And for me to ignore those would be kind of foolish because somebody's saying, here you go, here's a better way to be better at what you do. And for me to accept it is fantastic. So I think the opportunity that it comes here, but also understanding it and applying it, I think is important too. And I love the fact that the college has provided those resources to set me up for failure. And that's really what I love about working here at Madison College.
Okay, very cool.
Did you mean set you up for success?
What I say, failure?
Yeah.
I mean, set me up for, sorry, set me up for success.
Don't put the word success.
Yes, sorry about that. Yeah, sorry.